Congressman Eric Swalwell just pressed FBI Director Kash Patel in a tense, unfiltered exchange over the Epstein files, and specifically whether Donald Trump's name appears in them. And what unfolded was a masterclass in evasion from Patel, paired with one of Swalwell's most pointed interrogations yet. Let's break it down, because this wasn't just about Epstein. This was about transparency, accountability, and power.
Director, the first time you saw Donald Trump's name was in the Epstein files. Did you close the files or keep reading?
I have reviewed not the entirety of the files, so
you haven't reviewed all of the Epstein files?
Personally, no.
You're the director of the FBI. This is the largest sex trafficking case the FBI has ever been a part of. Buck stops at the top, and your testimony today is you have not reviewed all of the files.
What I've been doing is been busy providing the safest country this country has seen in modern U.S. history in historic speed, because the men and women of the FBI are given the resources to reduce the homicide rate, to reduce the drug trafficking rate, to reduce the amount of children that are being trafficked and the number of pedophiles.
It sounds like those children being trafficked would appreciate the director reviewing the files. You said you don't know the number of times Trump's name appears in the files, so it could at least be 1,000 times. Is that right?
The number is a total misleading factor. We have not released anyone's name in the Epstein files that has not been credible.
Director, could it at least be 1,000 times?
We have released every piece of legally permissible information.
Okay,
you can characterize the numbers however you want it.
You're claiming my time, Director. It sounds like if you don't know the number, it could at least be 1,000 times.
It's not. It's not.
Is it at least 500 times?
No.
Is it at least 100 times?
No.
Then what's the number?
I don't know the number, but it's not that.
Do you think it might be your job to know the number?
My job is to provide for the safety and security of this country. My job is not to engage in political innuendo so you can go out to the sticks and get your 20-second hit in your fundraising article.
Director.
Keep going, reclaiming your time, because the people of California are being underserved by your representation.
If the president is not implicated, why not release everything that involves him?
We have released everything, the president and anyone else's side, that is credible and lawfully be able to be released. Your fixation on this matter and baseless accusations that I'm hiding child pedophiles is disgusting. Anyone that says that needs to look at the stats alone and go back to the state of California, who's receiving the biggest surge in FBI resources through my redeployment, because the cities of Los Angeles, San Diego, and San Francisco need it.
Director, remembering your oath to tell the truth, did you ever tell Donald Trump his name is in the files?
I have never spoken to President Trump about the Epstein files.
Did you ever tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files?
The Attorney General and I have had numerous discussions about the entirety of the Epstein files and the reviews conducted by our team.
Did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files?
And we have released where President Trump's name is in the Attorney's
It's a simple question.
file.
Did you tell the Attorney General that the President's name is in the Epstein files?
During many conversations that the Attorney General and I have had on the matter of Epstein, we have reviewed.
The question is simple.
Who
did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files? Yes or no?
Why don't you try spelling it out?
Yes or no, Director?
Use the alphabet.
Yes or no?
No, A, B, C,
Director,
D, E, F.
it sounds like you don't want to tell us. Did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name was in the Epstein files?
Why don't you try serving your constituency by focusing on reducing violent crime in this country and the number of pedophiles that are illegally harbored in your sanctuary cities in California? I'll work with you on that.
Regular order, Mr. Chairman.
I'm
the gentleman from California.
Did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files?
The question has been asked and answered.
You have not answered it, and we will take your evasiveness as a consciousness of guilt. Director, did Donald Trump ever say to you, just find and release the entire truth? Don't worry if I'm in it?
The instructions from the administration were to release all credible information, and we have done that.
Did Donald Trump ever provide information about Jeffrey Epstein as an informant?
Donald Trump has not been, and I can only speak for the FBI, an informant of the FBI.
So, Director, you've played this cute shell game where you say you can't release everything because the court has said that it legally is not allowed to be released. But the court calls bullshit. Judge Richard Berman said that when you went to the court, quote, information contained in the Epstein grand jury transcripts pales in comparison to Epstein investigation information and materials in the hands of the Department of Justice. So let's move on, Director. You wrote a book called Government Gangsters. You identified 20 individuals in that book. You put me on that list, at the top of the list. Thank you. My children find it flattering. 20 of those individuals have been investigated or have had adverse actions. Director, considering that you have identified these people as, quote, government gangsters, will you recuse yourself from making any investigation decisions about these individuals?
Anyone that has been terminated at the FBI has been done so
the
because
question
they failed
again,
to meet the muster in their
Director,
constitutional
I will
obligation.
work on the audio-visual capabilities.
I'm going to borrow your terminology and call bullshit on your entire career in Congress.
I'm reclaiming my time,
It has been
Director.
a disgrace to the American
Director, I'm
people.
reclaiming my time.
You can reclaim your time all you want.
Mr.
Chairman, you're going to allow a witness to speak this way? Mr. Chairman, would you give...
Recuse yourself, Director.
The gentleman has no time.
Mr. Chairman, would you admonish the witness not to insult members?
The gentleman has no time.
Mr. Chairman, just
committee will remember.
Quick point of order. Could the gentleman be extended an additional 20 seconds to complete his thoughts since the witness decided to interrupt him continuously?
And the witness will be able to respond if he wants. We'll make sure he has time to do that.
My question is, will you, Director, recuse yourself, yes or no, from investigating or making decisions about the 60 individuals, including myself, that you identified as government gangsters? Yes or no?
Time of the gentleman has expired. The witness may respond if he would like.
And the answer was no, as I heard.
Correct.
Okay. The gentleman.
Some congressional hearings start slow, all procedural, scripted, and predictable. But this one? This was explosive. Congressman Eric Swalwell came in sharp and fearless, and FBI Director Kash Patel came in defensive, dodging, and clearly uncomfortable. The topic? The Epstein files, and whether Donald Trump's name appears in them. What followed was one of the most heated and revealing exchanges we've seen in months. Swalwell wasted no time. He asked Patel directly, "Director, the first time you saw Donald Trump's name was in the Epstein files. Did you close the files or keep reading?" Simple question, straightforward. And Patel's response, "I have reviewed not the entirety of the files." Think about that. He's the director of the FBI, the top law enforcement officer in the nation, and he admits he hasn't reviewed all the Epstein files, the largest sex trafficking case the Bureau has ever been involved in. That's not just strange, it's alarming. Swalwell immediately pushed back. "You're the director of the FBI. This is the largest sex trafficking case the FBI has ever been part of. Buck stops at the top." And he's absolutely right. Leadership means accountability. But instead of taking responsibility, Patel pivoted. He started boasting about lowering homicide rates, fighting drug trafficking, and improving safety. Anything to avoid talking about Epstein. It was pure deflection. That's when Swalwell went for the core of it. He said, "You said you don't know the number of times Trump's name appears in the files, so it could at least be 1,000 times, right?" Patel bristled, visibly frustrated. He called the numbers misleading and claimed the Bureau only releases names they deem credible. But who defines credible? The FBI does. And that's exactly the problem. When the people in power get to decide what the public can handle, transparency dies in the shadows. Swalwell pressed on. "Did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files?" That's when Patel's mask cracked. He didn't answer. He danced around the question. He attacked Swalwell personally, calling the line of questioning political innuendo and accusing him of chasing a fundraising hit. It was defensive, emotional, and revealing. Because if there's nothing to hide, you don't need to lash out. You just answer the question. Swalwell didn't back down. He repeated, "Did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files? Yes or no?" And Patel still couldn't say it. He mumbled about having numerous discussions with the Attorney General, but when pressed for a yes or no, he refused to give one. That's not the behavior of someone confident in transparency. That's the behavior of someone walking a tightrope between truth and protection. Then it got personal. Patel snapped back, saying Swalwell was neglecting his constituents, accusing him of focusing on political theater instead of policy. It was pure deflection again, an attempt to shift the focus away from Epstein, away from Trump, and onto partisan noise. But Swalwell didn't take the bait. He stayed focused, calling out Patel's evasiveness and reminding the room that when the FBI hides the truth, the public loses faith in the system entirely. And let's be honest, that's exactly what's happening. The Epstein case wasn't just a criminal case. It was a window into how power protects itself. Epstein didn't just exploit victims, he collected influence. He had ties to billionaires, to royals, and yes, to presidents, including Donald Trump. And when the FBI director won't even acknowledge whether Trump's name appears in the files, it feeds every suspicion that this is another case where the elite are being shielded while the survivors and the truth are left behind. Swalwell called it what it was, a shell game. The FBI says it can't release everything because of legal limits, but a federal judge has already said that the unreleased information in the DOJ's hands pales in comparison to what's already public. That means the Bureau is sitting on far more than it admits. And when pressed, Patel hides behind words like credibility and legal restrictions, which sounds less like law enforcement and more like political cover. Then Swalwell confronted Patel about his book, Government Gangsters, where Patel literally listed 20 officials he labeled as enemies, including Swalwell himself. Swalwell asked if Patel would recuse himself from any investigations involving those people. Patel refused, and instead of acting like a professional, he insulted Swalwell to his face, saying, "Your entire career in Congress has been a disgrace to the American people." That's not how a public servant behaves. That's how a partisan operative behaves when the truth gets too close. So let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. This isn't just about Epstein. It's about whether the FBI can still be trusted to act independently, or whether it's become a political shield for the powerful. If the Bureau will redact, restrict, and refuse to discuss the involvement of someone as connected as Donald Trump, then it's not just a justice problem, it's a democracy problem. Because what this exchange really showed is how fragile accountability becomes when politics infects law enforcement. When the director of the FBI won't even say how many times a former president's name appears in the country's biggest sex trafficking case, it's not just suspicious, it's dangerous. Justice can't depend on who's in power. It has to depend on truth. Eric Swalwell's questioning wasn't political theater. It was oversight. It was a Democrat standing up for transparency when too many others stay silent. He didn't let Patel's arrogance or deflection distract him from the central issue: who is being protected and why? We deserve to know who was connected to Jeffrey Epstein. Every survivor deserves to see the full truth out in the open. Every American deserves to know whether justice applies equally to the rich and powerful, or if it stops at the Bates of Mar-a-Lago. And Patel's performance today, the dodging, the personal attacks, the refusal to answer basic questions, tells us everything we need to know. The people at the top don't want us looking too closely, because once we do, the illusion of accountability collapses. Eric Swalwell did what real public servants are supposed to do. He confronted power directly, demanded truth, and didn't flinch when the director of the FBI tried to turn it into a personal attack. He kept the focus where it belonged, on justice, transparency, and the American people's right to know. At the end of the day, this hearing wasn't just another partisan back and forth. It was a rare moment when the truth almost slipped through the cracks, and the establishment scrambled to shove it back in. But once the questions are asked, they can't be unasked. Once the public hears them, the demand for answers doesn't fade. This is exactly why shows like The Blue Brief exist, to dig through the noise and demand clarity from those who hide behind power. The truth matters, justice matters, and the American people deserve both, no matter whose name is in those files. So if you're tired of the evasions, the half-truths, and the political games, stay here, because we'll keep following this story and every story that challenges power where it's most comfortable, in the dark. I'm not saying the Epstein files will blow the lid off everything overnight, but moments like this, when a member of Congress refuses to let the FBI wiggle out of accountability, that's how the cracks begin to form. That's how sunlight gets in. And trust me, the Blue Brief will be right here when it does. Subscribe, like, and tell me in the comments what you think. Is this incompetence or is it a cover-up? Because either way, it's not good enough for a democracy built on truth.